Hi, it's Judy and welcome to a new video. For those of you who are new here, don't forget to subscribe. I make bookish videos every single week and I would love to have you join me here. For those of you who are returning, hello and welcome to a new video. So today I'm going to be discussing my favourite books of 2021. So this will be my top 10 books that I read during the year, and this was kind of hard. To be honest, I wouldn't really say 2021 was like a year of loads of amazing books. Like, I wouldn't really say there was a lot of books that I would reread again out of last year or were like absolutely like totally obsessed with. Like, considering I read 100 books, there was only like really a handful. So yes, this is my top 10, and to be honest, I don't know if anybody else is like me, but I can have like a favourite book or love a book and then someone could ask me like a month later, oh well, what's it about, or blah blah blah, what was your favourite thing, and I'd be like, I've forgotten. So yeah, I don't know if anyone else is like that, but I forget things really easy, especially once I've read like a few books since that one. So I'm gonna struggle to remember some stuff about these, but we're just gonna go with it. So yes, if you would like to see what my favourite books of 2021 were and get some good fantasy book recommendations, because I'm pretty sure all of these except for one are fantasy, so if you're interested in any fantasy recommendations, keep watching this video. But yes, get yourself a cup of tea, get nice and cozy, it's going to be a long one, and let's jump into the video. Okay, so this first book goes without saying, and of course it's going to be on there. I'm pretty sure I did read this last year. Last year was just a blur for me, like with all the lockdowns, time's so confusing, so I'm pretty sure it was last year. That is A Court of Silver Flames. Obviously, whenever Sarah J Maas does a new book, I always love it, and it will always be in my top 10 because she's just my favourite author. I just love her writing. And yeah, of course I had to put A Court of Silver Flames in it. I'm not going in ranking order, by the way. This is just at random. There's no ranking order. And this definitely wasn't my favourite book of 2021. I can tell you that. But I did love this. I rated it 5 stars, but having thought about it, I probably would actually give it 4 or 4.5 because I saw this meme and it was like saying like this whole book is pretty much about Nesta running up and down some stairs. And it made me laugh, and then I was like, do you know what? A huge portion of the book was that. I get it was like metaphoric and symbolic and everything, but still like kind of funny. But after I thought about it more and more and like just how I read it and stuff, I would say it probably is like a 4 or 4.5 rather than a 5. It just didn't hit the same as the other books for me. I don't know if that's because I've never really been the biggest fan of Nesta. Potentially she definitely does redeem herself to a point in this book, and I really loved her character growth, her journey, the Valkyries, like all of that, like I loved. And obviously I loved the romance as well, but I still cannot justify certain behaviours in ACOTAR for her. No matter what shit she was going through or dealing with, there is no excuse for some of her behaviour. So I do still think she is like a really cool character, and I've grown to really love her now after reading this, but at the same time she is a little bit a bitch still, like just a little bit, just a bit. So yeah, I'm sorry if you love Nesta. Don't take this the wrong way, because I love Nesta too. I just still think she's a little bit of a bitch. But I did love this book. I loved seeing her grow and seeing her overcome so many different things, especially how Sarah J Maas tackled grief in here. I really thought it was so well done. I feel like she always tackles grief really well. Like in House of Earth and Blood, I thought that was really good in there as well. She just knows how to write, in my opinion. But yeah, I really love this. This book is pretty much 99.9% porn and 1% plot. I know, I'm lying, but it is largely smut, and I'm okay with that. I really enjoyed it. And I did really love the plot of this as well. Like, I thought the plot was really good. Like I said, I love the Valkyries and like the new characters you're introduced to, and the library, and I really enjoyed finally seeing and understanding how Nesta's power works, how she attained it, and like how it's all tied in. And it was just so interesting. Obviously as well, I don't want to give too many spoilers, but the face and stuff in here, this book had me so emotional. The end, oh my god, why Sarah J Maas did that to me and put me through that, I don't know. Like, I was bawling my eyes out and I was so scared. Please don't do that again, Sarah J Maas, like please, because my heart could not take it. But it all worked out and it was fine. But still, I love the face and stuff in here as well because they're my babies, and I just really enjoyed this book. I'm not going to go into what it's about because it is the 5th book in the ACOTAR series, and obviously that will contain spoilers. It's basically about Fae, big wingspans. I'll let you interpret what that means. Smut. Wow, what's wrong with my cat? Smut, Valkyrie, strong women, fighting, more smut, cool powers, and family. That's pretty much the themes of this book. So yes, I did really love this. I'm going to stop rambling about it now, but of course I did have to put it on my top books for the year. And yeah, loved it. Okay, so this next one is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So I gave this a lot of taps, as you can see, and I did really love this. I read this at the very start of 2021, so my brain a little bit foggy about what this exactly was about. Like, I know what it was about, but I don't remember a lot of it, if I'm being honest. I read 100 books last year, so this was probably like the 5th or 3rd or 4th one I read, so give me a break. But yeah, basically this is kind of like a smutty vampire story, and we have Poppy in here. I loved Poppy. I loved her character. She's just a really cool character, and it was just so fun seeing her kind of break out of this shell she was forced into, and seeing how much of a badass she was. The romance was really cool in here. The plot twists, kind of predictable but kind of not at the same time. I loved just the like romance in here and the dynamic of her, the love interest being like her bodyguard kind of thing. And the world building was really cool. I really like the world in here as well. And I do think if you like Sarah J Maas books and like smutty fantasy books and like Scarlet St. Clair, then you will like this. I don't really remember a lot of it though, if I'm being honest. The only scene that is vividly in my brain is the snow scene. Like, you know, the scene in the snow, things of getting heated. If you know, you know, but that's kind of the only thing that probably is in my mind from this book. So I am planning to reread this book this year, because I remember the general plot of this book, but I don't remember lots of the details, and I haven't continued with the series yet, and I definitely want to. So I'm gonna reread this year. But this was definitely a book that I loved last year. I remember like when I was reading it, I was just flying through it. Like, I do remember though, I must say, at first, the first 100 pages, 200 pages, not a lot really happens. And I was kind of like, are we going to get to the plot anytime soon? Like, what's happening? And then all of a sudden, like, it started and I was like, right, I can't put this down. And I blitzed through it and I loved it. So yeah, this is definitely one of my top books of the year. But I really do need to do a reread of it as soon as possible. So next is probably the only contemporary book and like non-fantasy book, and that is Black Flamingo by Dean Atta. So I read this at the start of the year as well, and I actually read this in one sitting. So this is a book that's told in verse, and I started reading this when I was doing like a readathon. I will put the vlog up here and link it down below because it's in the vlog there. But yes, I was reading this for a readathon, and I started it in the evening, and I just thought, oh, I'll read like the first 10 pages and then I'll pick it up tomorrow. That didn't happen. I stayed up till 4 AM reading it because I just got so sucked into the story and the writing. It was so emotive and just incredible, and I just absolutely love this book, and I would highly recommend this book. This is just such an incredible book. It has such a good narrative, and the kind of themes in this book are so important, and I just absolutely adored it. It was just amazing, and yeah, I honestly can't recommend this enough. So in this we follow a mixed race gay teen kind of navigating from high school to university, finding out who he is, what he likes, not being ashamed of that, and he ends up becoming a drag artist called the Black Flamingo, and it was just such a good story. I loved it so much, and I can't recommend this book enough. Like, honestly guys, it's just such an incredible book. I definitely do want to reread this at some point, and it's definitely one of my favourites that I read last year, and very memorable. I know this is sort of popular, but at the same time, like, I don't hear enough people talking about this book. I don't know, I just think the story is just amazing. Like, the character growth and personal development in this book is just phenomenal. Why did I even try to say that word? It's just incredible. Let's use that word instead. The character growth and the personal development in this book is just incredible, and yeah, I cannot recommend this book enough. I feel like everyone should read it, and I just absolutely adored it. Okay, so some more kind of smutty, not fantasy. This book is so weird because it's not really a fantasy, but it's not fiction either. So I work in a bookshop, if you didn't know, and we have a system, and when you scan the book it will tell you what genre it comes under, what subgenre, and so on. So this is labelled as fiction, and that is because there isn't any magical system in this book. There's no magic world, there's no magic, there's no anything really fantasy in here. This is a book about kind of kingdoms, warring kingdoms and royalty. So it is technically just a fiction, but it reads like a fantasy, if that makes sense. But that is The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. So I actually listened to this on audio. This is probably the best audiobook I've ever listened to. Like, the audio is so well done. I cannot remember the narrator, but the narrator is amazing. The sound effects as well, just literally like the best listening experience I've ever had with a book. Like, honestly, if you're looking for a really good audiobook, I highly recommend this. I would actually, I mean, I haven't physically read this either yet, but I would always just recommend listening to the audiobook because I just don't think you can beat the experience. It is so good. It's told from 2 different perspectives. We have our main character, I can't remember what her name is, Lara, and then we have our other main character, Aaron. And basically Lara is the daughter of like this king kind of guy. There's like several different like kingdoms in this like one place, and like this bridge, and this bridge has the main line of trade in this whole like entire place, and there's several different kingdoms, and Lara is from this kingdom that's like kind of in the desert, and her father is a really brutal and horrible man, and he has 9 daughters, I think it is, and they have all been trained secretly from birth to become like the best assassins in the world basically, and to one day go and become the queen, because there is this like kind of weird trading treaty agreement thing where one of his daughters and someone from like his bloodline will marry into the family of the one with the bridge. Can't remember what the kingdom's called. And marry like the king there. So yeah, we have that going on, and basically when training his daughters, like, you know, one of them got killed, like they're beaten, they're like tortured, everything to become like these brutal assassins. It's absolutely horrendous. They suffer so much abuse, and they've been totally brainwashed by their father to think a certain way about this kingdom. And basically his plan has been to pick the best out of the daughters and send the winner to marry this king, and then she will from the inside dismantle the kingdom, kill them, and then her father can take over the kingdom and all this. And they're doing this because they've been told that this kingdom's kind of keep all the wealth for themselves, and like their people are starving, and it's all because of this kingdom and all of this. And we have a main character, Lara, who's the one who goes to marry him, and then she's gonna kill him and take his kingdom. And yeah, that's the plot. I love a good like assassin like marriage trope. It's the best, and a lot more happens in this. There's so many plot twists. It's just amazing. The romance as well, so good. Like, honestly guys, if you do like, let me think, so if you like Scarlett St. Clair, or you like Kerry Maniscalco, or I'm trying to think of other books, if you just like a good enemies to lovers, you'll like this book. Enemies to lovers is like the main trope in here, and it's just so good. Can't recommend the audiobook enough. This book was so good. I'm so glad I read it, and this is easily a favourite for last year. So next we have A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. Absolutely love this book. I did a spoiler filled reading vlog for this over on my Patreon because this is one of our buddy reads last year, and I flew through this book. This book was so freaking good. I have made several of my friends read it who also loved it, and honestly guys, this book is just so good. Smut, romance, Persephone and Hades retelling. Like, why would you not like it? Like, it's just so good. Scarlett St. Clair knows how to write those like really trashy, easy to read romance books that you just can't put down. Like, this is a binge worthy book, and I loved it. It follows Persephone, and she makes a deal with Hades accidentally, and she has to go to the underworld and create a life there and all of this. And yeah, we have a Persephone and Hades retelling slash romance. It's kind of not enemies to lovers, but I don't think she particularly likes him at first because she doesn't understand him. So good unraveling Hades and the mystery of Hades, and seeing Persephone grow, seeing her escape kind of like a horrible mother, and just like, oh, it's just so good. I don't want to give spoilers, but yes, if you are interested in Greek mythology or retellings or Persephone and Hades specifically, and you have not read this book, do it. If you just like a good smutty romance, then also pick up this book. Easily one of my favorites. I need to continue this series, and I also need to reread this book. It's just so good. So so good. So next we have like one of the most beautiful books I read in 2021, which also happens to be another Patreon buddy read. So again, there is a spoiler filled reading vlog for this book up on my Patreon, so if you are interested in the vlog for this or for A Touch of Darkness, then you can head to my Patreon, which is linked down below. But this is The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin, and I just think everyone should read this. This book is so stunning. It is just amazing. It's so unique as well, and Rachel Griffin's writing is just so lyrical and just so gorgeous. Like, I loved it. So basically in this, follow a witch called Clara, who's this rare witch called, I think it's like is it an Everwitch? Yeah, an Everwitch. And basically Everwitches are super rare. They contain the power of all 4 seasons. So the magic system in this world is so freaking good, and if magic were to ever exist in real life, this is exactly how I'd envision it. Like, she has made something seem like a reality, like a fantasy thing seems realistic. Like, it was so good. So the magic system in here, there's seasonal witches, so obviously winter, summer, spring and autumn. So you can only have like one of the seasons, and during that season is when your magical abilities come out and you use them. So she is very, very rare because she has the power of all 4 and she can use the magic like in each season. And she is got this massive weight on her shoulders because she is an Everwitch to be able to save the planet, because the earth is slowly dying because the humans are ruining it, and they're aware of the witches, and the witches are what keep like the climate change to like a minimum. So like any big wildfires as a result, or like big storms, things like that, the season in charge at the time will help like minimize them and control them and stuff. So they're getting worse and worse. More witches are losing their powers and like using it all up, and the earth is heading to shit basically. Like, it's about to go, and the humans just aren't listening. So it's obviously got some really important messages in this book, and it's basically like kind of like climate change activism as well, which was really, really clever. And yeah, we have Clara, and she's dealing with a lot of like past traumas as well, and she doesn't want to be an Everwitch. So we see her kind of grow as a person. There's also a romance in here, which wasn't my favourite. If the romance had been better, I'd love this a lot more, but it's still a cute romance. So yeah, we follow Clara, and she's basically got to try and like save the planet with her magic. She's super powerful, and it's all about her and like her developing her magical abilities, having a little romance, trying not to let the earth die, and like it's just really, really good, honestly. There's so many gorgeous lines in this book as well. I've tabbed so much of this book, and the magic in here is just so cool. Like, highly recommend this. I feel like every single person should read this book because it is honestly incredible. It's eye-opening, it's beautiful, and I loved it. Okay, so this next one was a super cute like contemporary romance, and I flew through this one. Absolutely adorable, absolutely loved it. Cannot wait for Axio's next book, and that is XOXO. So this is a kind of like a K-pop romance story, and it's just so cute. Like, I loved it. So in this we follow 2 teens, and they meet briefly in LA, and I don't think at the time the main character realizes he's a pop star, and they spend the night in LA together going for food and just going around. And then like this van shows up to pick him up, and she's like, what the hell? And they like took photos in a photo booth, were really cute, got each other's number, and then she texts him and she never gets a response, and she's just like, whatever. And then she's going to Korea to stay with some family, and she enrolls in a new school because she is a musician, and she plays, I think it's like, I can't remember if it's not a violin, it's a, what's the giant violin called again? A cello, I think? A cello? Cello? I can't remember what it's called. But she plays that, I think is what it is, and this is like a really prestigious school for her to go to. So she decides to do it, and she goes there, and her grandmother's really sick, and her mum goes with her as well. And turns out he's also at this school, and he's in like this K-pop group, and they're really, really famous, but obviously they're not allowed to date, and it's like kind of them navigating that and getting to know each other again and all of this. And it's just so, so good. Like, I love this so much. It's so cute. If you're a K-pop fan, you need to read this book. It was just adorable. I just need more books like this. If you have any other like K-pop kind of romancy recommendations, let me know, because I'd definitely be interested in reading it because I love this so much. This is kind of like Starstruck, to be honest. If anyone remembers that Disney movie, I used to love that. Okay, so this next one I absolutely adored. I read it in a single night, but I cannot remember a lot of the plot, and I haven't read the series that this is kind of linked to yet, which is Caraval. So that is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. All I remember is this was beautiful, the romance and it was so cool, the plot was so cool, I loved it, and I binged it in a single sitting. Besides that, I can't really remember much, and I don't know if it's because I was so tired when I read it or what, but I just remember loving it and writing a review and then being like, oh my god, that was so freaking good, like, and I was just obsessed. But now I can't really remember what it's about, but I know I loved it. So yeah, but this is basically following some characters from Caraval. Jack of Hearts is in here. That's kind of all I know. I haven't read Caraval still. I started it and I was just like, no, I'm not in the mood for this, and put it down. So I am going to one day, but when that day will be, I have no idea. But yeah, I really, really love this book and it was just a lot of fun. That's all I'm going to say about it. Okay, so this next one, you'll all know I loved if you watch my vlogs, and that is Kingdom of the Curse by Kerri Maniscalco. So this is the sequel to Kingdom of the Wicked. I loved Kingdom of the Wicked, although I kind of do think this book is better because Kingdom of the Wicked had far too many plot holes for me and the ending didn't really make sense to me, but I loved it. Like, I absolutely loved it. But this one was so good. This one is full of angst, sexual tension, smut, a really good plot line. She's quite literally in hell now. There is all of the different like princes of the 7 circles of hell are in here. The only thing that I can critique about this book is that our main character is a witch and she didn't really use any magic or do anything witchy. So that was my only critique really, and like, I want to see her using her magic and being super powerful, and there's just not really any of that. But it was really, really good. I loved it. The romance in here was a solid 5 out of 5. Incredible. Love this book. Read this series. It's so good. It's a Prince of Hell and Witch kind of murder mystery thriller romance fantasy. That's how I describe this book. So good. Prince Wrath is my second book husband after Recent. He is just a stunning, stunning fictional man, and I love him. And I cannot recommend this series enough. I'm obviously not going to go into what else this is about because it's a sequel, but definitely read the sequel or the first book if you haven't. And this last book is actually a thriller, which I forgot I'd put in the pile. So I think this is probably like the only thriller I read last year. I haven't read many thrillers in the last year or two, but I loved this. I read this when I got sent an arc of it and I really enjoyed it because it was so unique and it's just not your average thriller. I did write a full review for this on my Goodreads. It may be on my Instagram, and I also did it on Boardstone, so if you head to either of those places you will be able to see my review for this book and get like my full thoughts on it, because I did read it last summer. My brain has kind of gotten rid of that information now. But that is The Maidens by Alex, I can never pronounce the surname correctly, but I'm going to say Michaelides or Michaelides. But yeah, I love this. This was so good. This is kind of like a thriller, murder mystery, dark academia novel. We follow the aunt of a college student at Cambridge who's dealing with her own shit, and she goes to Cambridge after girls start getting murdered on her. I don't think it's a daughter, I think it's a niece, but it's on this like college campus thing. And she's kind of dealing with the grief of losing her husband, and yeah, she goes there to try and like make sure she's okay, and then she ends up getting involved in it and trying to solve out who the murderer is, going around this campus and killing young girls. And she's obviously trying to protect her niece and stuff. And the coolest thing about this is that all the crimes have been connected to Greek kind of myths and tragedies, and like she's trying to figure out what the next one will be and like how it all like relates and what it means. There's also this weird kind of secret society cult thing with the Greek tragedy professor there. He's like her prime suspect. There's lots of secrets, and the writing in this is absolutely gorgeous. The way Cambridge is described, I could picture myself in Cambridge walking down the street. Like, it was so gorgeous. I love the descriptions of everything. It's definitely dark academia, and it's just such a unique thriller, I think. And it also has a really philosophical element to it as well, which is why I really loved it, because not many thrillers have that, and this did. And I just loved how the Greek tragedies were woven into the story and the plot, and the plot twist was amazing. Everything. I just love this book, and I honestly cannot recommend it enough. This is like one of the best thrillers I've ever read, and I constantly recommend it to people because it is truly unique and truly amazing. Like, it's so good. If you like dark academia, if you like a murder mystery, if you like something that's a little bit unique, you will definitely love this book, as I did. So that does wrap up all of my favourite reads of 2021. If you guys have read any of these, or any of these were on your list as well, let me know in the comments. Also, let me know what your favourite books of 2021 were. I really am interested in seeing if the same books are going to be popping up on everyone's list. So let me know in the comments what your favourite books were of last year. And if you did enjoy this video, please do give it a big thumbs up and leave a heart emoji in the comments if you made it this far. I will link all of these books in the description box, along with the link to my Patreon, where you can find extra content from me, such as reading vlogs and other videos. We do a Discord, we also do a buddy read every month, and I upload early access, behind the scenes, and lots of other things there, so you can head there if you're interested in any of that content. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. All of my social media like Goodreads, BookTok, Bookstagram, Twitter, everything else that there is will all be linked in the description box. That's where you can find all of that information. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you're all safe and well, and I hope you have an amazing reading year in 2022, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.